Hello and welcome to the Last Looks podcast, a show where we catch up with talented hairstylists and makeup artists in the film and television industry. We'll pick their super creative brains and find out all the good stuff. Join me, your host, Jamie Lee, in finding out what's what in the hair and makeup departments around the world.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Are you tired of showing up to set with dry, cracked hands? Well, now your well-moisturized mitts will be the talk of the town, thanks to Hands Down Sanitizer. The best in the biz, hands down. Other products are loaded with fillers. Hands Down is all natural, made with essential oils from Paris and real aloe. So you can say goodbye to the dry and say hello to clean, soft skin. Their organic, non-toxic formula comes in a variety of soothing scents: lavender, coconut, lemongrass, and clove. Your hands will feel great and smell great, guaranteed. Created by Emmy-nominated makeup artist Stephanie Fowler, each bottle is handcrafted just for you. And it's not just good for your skin, it's also good for the planet. Hands Down is refillable, recyclable, and sustainable. Where does one find such a treasured possession? Hands Down is available at most makeup and hair suppliers and online. Hands Down Refresher and Sanitizer. Because when it comes to your skin, you deserve the star treatment.
And now, our feature presentation.
Today on the Last Looks podcast, I catch up with makeup artist Tym Buacharern. Tym and I have worked together a few times, and the first project I met Tym on was Black Panther. I've always admired his work, and I'm so happy he agreed to chat to me on the podcast. Tym has worked on a variety of projects, from touring with Janet Jackson to working in print and editorial to television and film. So on this episode, we chat about it all.
Pictures up. Last looks. Rolling. And action.
Welcome to the Last Looks podcast, Tym.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome. Hey, now I would like you to finish this sentence for me, okay?
Okay.
Once upon a time, there was a boy named Tym, and when he grew up, he wanted to be...
A dancer.
A dancer, yeah. I thought that's what you were going to say. And you were.
I was a dancer, but then, it's like basically, dance. You can only pretty much dance for so long until you professionally, anyways. And then your body kind of gets older, and you just start getting hurt.
Yeah, nobody wants that. Then you go move into makeup and get hurt in other ways.
Exactly, in a totally different way. In a totally different way.
Yeah. So how do you make that transition from dancer to makeup artist?
Well, basically what happened was that I had an injury to my lower back, and I was sitting at home, bored as hell because I can't dance, I can't do anything. And if you're a dancer or any kind of athlete, you're basically training so many hours a day. So the boredom kind of came in. And at that time, back in the Stone Ages, I used to get a pamphlet, a trade school pamphlet to my house from a place called Learning Tree University. And I was like, out of sheer boredom, I looked at it and I was like, ooh, photography. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So I went in and looked at it and looked at the cost of it. And I was like, ooh, no, I can't afford that. That's something I can't afford to do right now. So I flipped through it and I was like, oh, makeup artistry. Price is right. Gets me out of the house. Get me to do something. So I went and did it and actually had a great time doing it. And it wasn't something that I wanted to do. And it was just out of boredom, and that was it. And then I went back to Thailand, did some work in Thailand, and did a little bit modeling. Yes, I was. A little bit. Very little bit. When your friends is a casting person, it helps.
That's awesome. So where were you living when you did the makeup school stuff?
In LA.
In LA, okay.
In LA, yeah.
And then went back to Thailand for a little while. And then did you come back to LA or? Yeah,
went back to Thailand and did something. And basically the makeup artist on the photo shoot that we were doing got sick. And they're like, okay, well, we can't shoot today. We don't have a makeup artist. Like, hold up. I can.
Yeah.
So I did the makeup and kind of going, this is not bad.
Yeah.
So I did that and kind of it intrigues me.
Yeah.
And right after we did that, I moved, we came back to LA. I came back to LA and I go, well, why not try to pursue this? And me being a former dancer, former actor, what I did was I went down to Central Casting. I was familiar with Central Casting.
Yeah.
As a, background. So I went to Central and I signed up for Central. And the first day I signed up, the next day I was on the set of 90210. And, usually people walk on the set looking for the celebrities. I was not doing that. I basically walked up and go, hey, where's the makeup artist? Where's the makeup trailer? So I walked up to the makeup trailer and started handing out my cards, started showing them my little portfolio, quote unquote portfolio.
Yeah.
Which is a little, remember back in the 90s, all the pictures were only 3x5s.
Mm-hmm.
So, the little photo album, the travel one. So I took some pictures and walked around to it. And then that's what I did.
And so what came from that? I mean, that's a good way of doing it. That's impressive.
It actually was. And, I did quite a bit of shows. I think it probably did about 10 altogether. And like for me, I didn't realize when I was doing extra work, I did not realize that you don't talk.
Right.
Well, you pretend to talk.
Yeah.
But you don't talk. and all I remember was that somebody was trying to talk to me. I was like, I don't understand what you're trying to say at all. So anyway, so that was that. And then, and I did that. And there was one, I didn't like how backgrounds were being treated at that time, at that particular point. So I stopped. But before I did that, I did about, like I said, I did 10 shows.
Yeah.
And I gave my card out to every single show. And I don't care if you were a day player or whatever. I just handed it out.
Every makeup artist on those 10 shows knew who Tim was.
And probably my friends that I'm working with right now.
Yeah.
Probably were one of those makeup artists that I walked up to.
That's awesome.
And what happened after that was that I think about 3 months went by. I went to watch Cats. We were downtown watching Cats. And then I don't know why I went to see Cats. I think the tickets were free. That's why. What wound up happening is that I got a page and I went to answer the phone. And I got a call from one of the first makeup artists that I met and gave my information to.
Yeah.
I think you probably know her, Becky Cotton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was Becky Cotton. And Becky called me up and said, hey, listen, Tim, I don't know if you remember me. I did this show, I have a little small budget show coming up. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's small, what's large.
Yeah.
And I need an assistant. The pay was $50 a day.
Yeah.
Working 6 days a week and no overtime.
Yeah.
So basically I was just working for what we know now as a kit fee.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, I think it's doable. Let me talk to my parents and make sure that they're able to help me out at that time. So my parents said, nope, go ahead and do it. And that was the first job I did. And it was on a really ultra low budget movie with Brian Bosworth.
Okay.
And Brad Dourif. So I did that. And then after that, the hairdresser on the show took a liking to me. And she's like, hey, after this, if you have nothing, I have another show going and you get paid $75 a day. I was like, yes.
Well, this is the exact kind of thing that you want to happen, isn't it? Just that knock-on effect of meeting another person and they're like, hey, I've got this thing. And lucky for you, the price was going up, so that's good.
The price literally went up to $75. I was like, wait a minute, damn it. I could do this. And, and that was over at Roger Corman's studio. And then halfway through the show, she quit. She got another show. So she quit. So I became the department head, not ready at all. And my rate went up to $150 a day. Hey, let's go.
It had tripled since the first job.
Tripled since the first show.
Leaps and bounds.
But it was such a great training ground for me.
Yeah.
It was such a great training ground. It was like one of those things where it's like, I think there's a lot of disservice right now that's happening to a lot of younger generation makeup artists, where I don't think the places like Roger Corman and Full Moon and are there anymore for them to practice the skills and be able to fail.
What were those places that you were just naming for people who
Roger
don't know?
Corman Studios, who's the king of B movies back in the 80s, 90s.
I get you. Right.
Yeah.
So the lower budget kind of
like
films.
the lowest of the lowest. It's like literally you do a movie in 5 days.
Right.
It's really interesting to see that. that I think the training is not there. The onset training, I think that's something that I think that the studio and the union should trying to bring it in somehow.
I didn't realize, and this might be something that I just wasn't aware of at all, but on my last project, it was a Universal job, and the UPM started talking to me about a trainee program, and I was like, oh, this is interesting, tell me more. And I didn't realize that they have something in place where never ended up happening because the person in charge at Universal had I don't know, a personal something happen in her life, and everything kind of got put to the side as far as her work was concerned. But I believe they have a trainee program where I was able to like interview possible trainees. They would come on and help. They didn't need to be in the union. They would be paid by Universal directly, so it wasn't coming out of my Manday budget.
We always need that.
And I was just like, this is the best thing I've ever heard of.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping that moving forward is happening more and more with studios because, oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know if they'd be allowed to touch people's hair. I didn't get that far into it.
I don't think they're allowed.
Right. So, but just being able to be on set and see how it all works and learn from that ground level up would be amazing.
Now that you're saying, I think there was something in place like that too. It wasn't I think on Nope there were a few. Do you call it interns?
Yeah, maybe. Like
I think like the camera department had interns. I remember. Okay. I remember a few people had. There was a big letter saying, "Oh, welcome for the please make this group of kids feel wanted and feel seen." I'm sure they're gonna come up to you asking a lot of questions.
Yeah. But
we never, as far as in the makeup department, we never actually had somebody assigned to us. Nobody ever spoke to us about it. And I thought, I remember that was being kind of a cool thing that was there.
Universal as well? Nope.
Nope was a Universal show.
Yeah, it's very interesting. That's cool. Hopefully, as you say, it's hopefully it happens more.
Yeah, I think it should be. And I think, one of the things that I kind of spoke to a few, actors that I know was who's in the diversity and the training process of it, how to bring more diversity into the union. And then there's so much talk about, hey, there's no opportunity. And you're right. The opportunities to get into the union is hard. Yeah. But at the same time, we all got in. We all worked our butts off, and you coming from
New Zealand.
Thank you. Like, down there, one of them islands. Me not knowing anybody in the business, trying to get in, it's not easy, but it's possible.
Yeah.
But I think the training is not there right now, and one of the things I spoke to the quote unquote power to be, or whatever you call it, is like, what, if every studio, let's say if they come out, has 100 projects that they're shooting that year, right? Take 2 of the lowest budget projects that you have and turn that into a training project. And what they can do on that is still hire the qualified makeup artist, hairdresser, all of the department heads of the stuff, the department head, the key,
Yeah.
And then open it up to internships, or not paid internships. Like you don't have to pay the full rate. You could pay them, half the rate, half the rate. So that way, therefore, you get 2 people into the budget and still fit into the budget. And for each department, and have that being the learning ground.
Yeah.
And speak to contract services and make sure that those hours that they're working on those projects be counted as days to join the union.
Yeah.
I think that would be one of the greatest way to open the door.
Yeah. I mean, something, absolutely. I always think that coming from learning in a different country and then coming here and seeing how it works with the union was quite eye-opening, because it's almost like there's a piece in the middle that's missing for people. Because, like you started on the $50 a day, $75 a day, that's all great, learning ground. But a lot of the times when they're on these independent, really super low budget projects, you may be the only hairstylist or the only makeup artist on there.
Yeah.
And you're figuring it out by yourself as you go along.
As you're going along,
which
yeah.
can be great for some and maybe not so great for others, because you can pick up, maybe not so great habits and ways of doing things, because you're trying to figure it out as you go along. But if you're at that level and able to work under somebody who has been doing it professionally for however long and can guide you and help you, I think that, it's amazing, because most of those people are not doing those $50 a day jobs.
No.
They're already in the union and established and doing things with a budget that you need to be in the union to do. So it's almost like there's this massive wall up at the moment between the two.
Yeah.
And how do you get the experience underneath somebody if you can't work with them? Like, you literally can't work with them.
I agree. And I think it's also one of those situations where you're kind of like going, what can you do? What can you do to help out? So, like for me, it's like I always tell people, if you have questions, please feel free to drop into my DMs and ask the questions. But at the same time, I expect, in order for you to ask the question, if I even tell that to the newer kids in the union, if you, I'm an open book. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Yeah. But at the same time, I want to make sure that you did your job trying to find those answers before you ask it. Because if you're gonna come to me straight up for an answer, then you're not gonna retain what you have to search out for.
Right.
It's like I was working on the last show I worked out on. It's like I was telling a third in the hair department, and we were talking about meal penalty situation, and she's still thinking the meal penalty situation was like in the old days. Right. And it's not what it is now. And it's like, no, you have to look at that, and you have to do this. You have to make sure you understand that. She's like, well, I just called you for information from now. I was like, no, you're not. You're going to do your own research to figure out. It's like, no, don't be lazy. Do your homework. The stuff is there. If you search for it, and it's right there. Yeah. It might not be easy to find, but it is there.
It's just, I don't know, being a grown-up, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Take responsibility.
You're making money as a grown-up. Guess what? Act like a grown-up.
Yeah. Do your research. And then when you need help, when you can't find the answers, then
I'm more than happy to help out. More than happy to point you in the right direction.
That's awesome. So when you end up being head of department, you're $150 a day, you're swimming in it. What happens next?
I mean, from that point on, it's kind of, I did that and I started doing photo shoots and I didn't know the world of, I did a couple of like low budget stuff. I did Roger Corman. I did a couple, like Full Moon. I did Penthouse, I even ventured into a porn set, but at the same time, to me, I didn't take those as, oh my gosh, that's a porn set. Oh my gosh, that's a penis. Oh, that's a breast. I just did it as a way for me to practice what I'm doing. And I think that's why one of the reason that I'm fast with beauty makeup was that I did those jobs. Right. And I also worked on at the counters and whatever else. And so that way, I'm not always working on the most beautiful people in the world. I'm also working on regular, everyday people coming off the street, that have all different things. So I think that's kind of where you hone your skills. So at that point, after doing all that, I woke up one day and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I want to do commercials and photo shoot and print work. So ignorance is really bliss at times, I remember I heard this thing called Cloutier. I have no idea what an agency was. I knew the dance agent. I knew acting agent. I heard Cloutier. Everybody's talking about Cloutier. So I put out the yellow pages and I flipped through it, found Cloutier agency. I'm like, okay, I guess that's who that is. So I called Cloutier and I said, hi, my name is Tim and I'm an upcoming makeup artist and I want to do print work. I want to do commercials and things like that. And I talked to this woman who picked up the phone and she's like, okay, do you have a portfolio? I was like, a what? A what? Do you have a portfolio? And I said, I have a book with my pictures in it. It's like, well, she's like, that's called portfolio. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, then I do. And she asked me about, what it consists of, and I told her a little bit of it, and she's like, it feels like that you need to test. I was like, okay, I'll test. What's that? She was like, well, test is basically when a photographer, hair, makeup, wardrobe, models get together and create images for their portfolios. And I was like, oh, that sounds great. How do I find a photographer? And she was like, oh my gosh, you are so green. I said, you are correct. I am. And thank you very much for speaking to me about it. And she's like, okay, do you have a fax machine? And I said, yes, even though I didn't, but I said, yes. So I opened up my trusty Yellow Pages. I knew there was a Kinko on Ventura and Laurel Canyon. I flipped through. I found a number. I was like, yes, here's my fax number. I gave her the number to go to Kinko's, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking to her. She was like, okay, here's some photographers. I will fax that over to you. I said, well, thank you very much. And, she was like, well, she's like, good luck with everything. I said, thank you for your time. And came to find out later, it was actually Madeline. She was the head booker at the time at Cloutier. Now she owns Cloutier Remix. So it was one of those, it's like, you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
Type of situation. And then what I wound up doing is I wound up calling all of the photographers that was on that paper.
Yeah.
I think there was about 15 photographers. Only 5 called me back. And
it's pretty good, though, out of 15.
That was a good ratio. Yeah, that was a third of it called me back. And then I did shoot with all of them. One of them being Mike Ruiz. And actually, I'm still friends and still work with one of the photographers, T.C. Reiner.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, it just don't ask, don't get.
So you obviously got a whole bunch more work together and added that to your portfolio?
Yeah, I did. And TC got me, doing a photo shoot for, he was doing, we were all doing like the low budget magazine. And that's when I went, oh, they don't pay? It's just for print? Oh, but hey, but at the time, the tear sheets is valuable.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter on what magazine it was. But, I did Vivica A. Fox for Movie Line magazine. I got that tear sheet. I also got Rachel Lee Cook. I did Charlize Theron when she first came out from doing 2 Days in the Valley.
Yeah.
We did that for, that one I think is a Movie Line magazine. And did Kate Hudson in New York. We did a photo shoot with Kate Hudson in New York with DC. So build up the portfolio. And in saying, you don't ask, you don't get. I remember I was so excited. Got my first tear sheet. Went down to Barnes & Noble's. I think it was at the Century City Mall back in the days. And I remember I saw the magazine, the Movie Line. I saw my page. I was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of like one of those things. I made it type of situation.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I grabbed like 10 copies and I stood in line to check out, and in front of me, there was Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh gosh, okay, well, time to shoot my shot. So I said, screw it. I walked up to her and said, hi, my name is Tym Buacharern. I'm a makeup artist. I know that you have a lot of makeup artists that you work with all the time. But, hey, do you mind if I give you a card if you ever need a makeup artist to fill in or anything like that? Please don't hesitate to call me. And just so that you know that I'm not crazy, here is I just bought this 10 magazine. So here's my name on the thing. So she was like, oh, great. Okay, cool. Thank you. And then next thing she had a couple of things that happened where her makeup artist wasn't available. So they called me and asked me to do her makeup. And
that's cool.
Yeah. Closed mouth don't get fed. That's such a true statement. Such a true statement.
Yeah. So you started with TV film stuff, lower budget. Then you went into print. And you were saying that, I guess, ignorance is bliss. And is that just you not realizing what it took to kind of get into high-end print stuff?
Yeah, I didn't know anything. You know, I didn't know anything. But I think that's coming from being a dancer, where you kind of have big cojones, and all you can do is ask.
Yeah.
All you can do is ask. It's like, and I have never ever been like a wallflower.
Yeah.
Asked so that was that. And then, but at the same time, I was still doing testing, and I was doing stuff for free just in case something would come out. Yeah. It's not to a point where like, oh my gosh, okay, I think I made it in the business now, so I don't have to do free stuff anymore. And I still do it for fun, for the fun of it. And I remember a friend of mine who's a dancer, he was like, yeah, I'm trying to get my portfolio together to go to Japan, trying to model in Japan. And I was like, okay, I don't think it would happen, but okay. So I really didn't want to do it. but I was like, what else am I going to do? So I wound up doing it, and then I thought I was just going to do his makeup. And then all of a sudden, like, all these other girls walked in.
Yeah.
And, they're all friends of mine. They were all dancers, you know. And what wound up happening was that I did makeup for a bunch of different dancers and friends, and that was it. I didn't think anything of it. And then next thing you know, about 2 weeks later, I got a phone call from my dance agent.
Yeah.
Saying that, hey, I just got a call from Janet Jackson's management that they want to talk to you. I was like, would it be okay for me to give them your number? I was like, you better give it to them. You know, it wasn't like,
did you know whether it had to do with dance or makeup? Like, did you know at that point?
I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it didn't have anything to do with dance, because otherwise my dance agent would have been involved in it.
Yeah.
But I don't think I even thought about it that deep. You know, at that time. So next thing you know, I got a phone call from Mr. Jaime Mendoza and said, hi, we got your information from Kelly Kono, who's a friend of mine, who's a dancer, was one of the models at that photo shoot.
Yeah.
And we want to find out, Janet's looking for makeup artists to go on tour with her. Would you mind send us your portfolio? So I sent my portfolio over.
Because now you've got it and it's looking flowery
now it
and
looks
amazing.
Good. Now it looks good, you know, and I was like, now you know, everything kind of worked itself into that point.
Yeah.
You know, to get me to that point. And I went in and did it and sent it in, and we were going to do a meeting with Janet. I was going to do her makeup as a test, and that was it. We already set a schedule, and we were going to go on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
At that time, the weekend, Friday before that Wednesday, I got a phone call again from Jaime and said, hey, Tim, Janet's makeup artist got sick. So we're looking for somebody to come in and fill in. I was like, okay, when do you need me? He's like, today, where the call time would be at 2 p.m. I'm like, okay. And I made sure that I said, Dad, I need your credit card. He's like, for what? It's like, I'm going to put a lot of shitload of money on your credit card. So I went over to the department store.
Yeah.
And I think I spent like $2,000 on foundations and powders alone.
Yeah.
To make sure that I'm prepared, you know, to do her makeup. Mm-hmm. So I went in and I bought everything, and I got there, and Kevin Aquine was sick. So they need somebody to help with the work. Yeah. So they moved Kathy Highland up to do Janet's makeup. And so Kathy was supposed to do the dancers' makeup. So now my test is on the dancers. So I did the makeup on the dancers, everything was great. It was a 3-day photo shoot. Next thing you know, on the last day, Jaime came up to me and said, hey, Janet wants you to do her makeup today. So I'm like, what? So apparently Janet told Kathy that she was interested in me to go on tour with her. And would like to see what I do with her. So so that happened. And then we did the photo shoot. And then next thing you know, at the end of the day, Jaime came up to me and was like, can I have a conversation with you? I'm like, oh, shit. What did I do?
That's funny how the mind always goes to the negative. Like, I need a chat.
Oh,
no.
I know. But it's also one of those things. It's like, you know, you hear so much about you don't look at her in the eyes. You don't do this. You don't do that. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. You
know, and it's like, and I'm like, oh God, did I?
I'm in trouble.
Yeah. And he's like, well, Janet has the world tour coming up. We have the Soul Train Music Award. We have the Go Deep music video. We have the award show in Europe and da da da. And if your schedule is free, we would love to hire you to be on tour with us. And I was like, hold on, let me check my schedule. I was like, yes, I'm totally free. So that's kind of how my life got started. Is everything is very much serendipitous. It's like everything kind of like I do everything instinctually. I don't think about too much on what my plan is going to be, and I just whatever feels right to me at the time, I just do it.
But it felt like it was all kind of building up to that moment, like the things that happened before that prepared you for that job.
Exactly. And that's the thing I always tell people is like don't take too large of a piece of cake, because it's like you're never going to finish it. And that in the same way is like, you know me well enough, I don't accept jobs where I know I'm not going to be able to give it 150%. Yeah. And it's like, that's not for me. Let me give you names of other people, you know? And I think a lot of times we have to understand, we have to make sure that we are so prepared or overly prepared for the job. And it's like, I've turned down so many jobs that I was like, well, it's not for me. I can't do that. That's not in my forte.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so smart of you to know that. Like, it really takes experience, I suppose, to know when to say yes and when to say no, because it's
a lot of it is like it is experience. It's like for me, I'm not known as an effects person, but I get offer shows with a lot of effects stuff in it at the beginning of my career, and during that time, I would say no, I can't. That's not for me. But as far as if you come to me with a beauty show, I'm pretty positive I could dance rings around a lot of other people that's gonna be up for that job, and that's not being conceited or anything like that. But that's just knowing myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you obviously go on tour with Janet Jackson.
Yes.
And I'm assuming it's amazing.
Oh, it was the best. And the thing with Janet is like, I walk in there with one expectation because I was like, oh, I'm hired to be her makeup artist. And then Janet was like, well, I'm actually going to have you do the dancers because you guys have the connection and the dancers love you. I don't want to take the dancers away from you. And that's kind of the giving person that she is,
Right.
That's why I love working with her so much. And so we did that. We toured, and the next thing is they brought another makeup artist in, and something happened. And about 3 weeks later on tour that I was talked to do her makeup.
Yeah.
But, like the way I look at things is like, what is meant for you is going to be yours. Nobody can take it away from you. And, I'm not going to stress out about it. And that's just how it is. Nobody can take anything away from you. The only way that you could anything happen is you giving it away. Yeah. So what job is meant for me is going to be for me. What job is meant for Jamie Lee is going to be for Jamie Lee.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good way to look at it. I think it's a healthy mindset to have. Makes you feel a little more positive about stuff.
Yeah.
And so now that you've done all these different types of jobs, projects, and I'm sure they all need different types of makeup, when you were doing stage work, so on tour, there's dancers, a lot of high energy, all that type of stuff, what are some of the different techniques that you had to do to accommodate that for your makeup?
Yeah, well, on stage tour, what I wound up doing is doing the makeup in 3 stages. Which is I do everything, the eyeshadow, everything in cream first.
Okay.
And then after that, I go in with the powder and do the whole thing again in powder. And then I go and do it again in the cream. Because in my mind, it works that way because I want the makeup to come off in layers.
Right.
Versus the whole thing. And then it worked. And then next thing you know, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I would see Janet's face coming out and pretty much, the eyeshadow would be gone and whatever else. I'm like, well, but if I add shimmer onto her eyeshadow, then the light still catches it, so it still looks like that she has eyeshadow on. So everything is just adjusting. Like for me, when I do red carpet stuff now, I would do that with the lip colors. I would put like a little shimmery lip gloss in there. I would add a little shimmer in it. So that way, when the camera catches it, it still has a reflective quality. Even if it has worn down a little bit. Exactly. They're all hungry on the red carpet, so they eat everything, including the lip gloss.
Oh my goodness.
So you learn how to cheat.
It's such, and on a Janet Jackson stage, I'm sure, they're not stopping.
There's no stopping. She comes in, she does a quick change. You got literally 10 seconds to redo her lips and blot down the sweat. Yeah.
So it's good preparation for film work too, huh?
It did.
Yeah.
That's why it's like, and for me, for my first department heading project was Dreamgirls. So it's like, I think it was like all of that touring with Janet, Tina, with Cher, with Pink. Well, Pink came after. So with those 3 ladies kind of prepared me for the movie. It's like the way I looked at it is like my life has always been a preparation.
Yeah.
That's why I said that my career is very serendipitous.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, looking at your resume and how much stuff you've done, because it's very impressive, Tim, talk to me about some standout favorite projects and why they are your fave.
I think my standout, obviously, Dreamgirls is one of my all-time standout because it was the project that kind of launched my career within the film industry. And it was one of those situations where I had to prove myself, and I got to meet a lot of amazing people. I was able to be able to be creative and had a great time. And obviously working with Janet Jackson was one of the highlights of my career. But if we're looking at the film industry, it's like they're all a bunch of different babies. It's like,
yeah, I know. It's like, how do you choose your favorite child?
Exactly, and and on Black Panther. What do you say about that?
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things that The Harder They Fall was a great project. The one I just did, it was hard as hell, but it was so much fun to do.
Yeah.
And spending, 6 years on One Tree Hill,
That's a family right there, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was family. It was like I was
Yeah.
there for 10 months at a time,
Wow.
shooting in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So yeah. So there's a lot. I think what I like about the film industry is the family atmosphere, the closeness that you get. You basically wind up being around your work family more than your real family.
It's very true.
It's like, how it is. It's like you come home, you take a shower, you get into bed, and then he was probably already knocked out in bed. And then when you get up to go back to work, he's still in bed.
Yeah. And it's always dark. When you get home, it's dark. When you leave, it's dark.
When you leave, it's dark. You can't, and that's what I'm talking. It's like that's why you're always trying to crew up your crew with the best. I wouldn't say the best, the most talented.
Yeah.
But I think you crew people up with the best personality, because what you want to do is you want to make sure you have a good, fun trailer.
Yeah.
It's like getting the artist to do what I want them to do. It's easier.
Yeah.
I could ask the artist at a different level to pull their work up, and they're going to be more receptive to it.
Yeah.
Than bringing somebody else in who has the quote unquote ability, and you got to take the attitudes that go along with it.
Yeah.
That's
very true.
Not naming any names, but I'm just saying.
And the list is.
No. That's coming out of my memoir.
So everybody that's ever worked with Tim, buy his memoir and see if your name is in there. What list it's on.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
No.
So, I mean, you've done you've keyed, you've department headed, and you've also been a personal quite often.
Yeah.
So what are some of the pros and cons, do you think, of being a personal as opposed to being a head of department?
Well, I think the pros about being in the as a personal is that you literally all you have to do is focus on one character, one person. That's also inclusive of the photo double, the stunt double, any doubles that your actors or actress has. That's responsibility.
Yeah.
That's completely your person. A lot of people think, oh, you're a person and you're just dealing with the one actor, and then after they're done, then you get to go home. It's like, no, but if there's a double there, guess what? You're still there because you're in charge of their whole likeness.
Yeah.
Their likeness in its entirety. And I think that's a lot of time people forget that. Yeah. And as a department head, I think you get to design the whole film.
Yeah.
You get to look at the whole film, and you get to deal with everything as the whole film as a whole. And being a key, everything has the pros and cons, because, it's like when you're the department head, you can't go, oh, if something doesn't come out right, you can't go to the producer and say that, the makeup artist number 95 down there, it's not my fault. No, because it's like, when you're the department head, you get all the accolades and you get all the blame.
Yeah, it's all you, baby.
It's all you. You can't push it along to anybody else. And you can't, and people forget that. And I love how, how sometimes additionals or the key, and they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could department. It's like, honey, you could have it. I make $3 an hour more than you do. So you could take all the headaches too to go along with it,
Yeah.
But that's the part. I like designing the whole world. I like designing the whole image of the thing. And, and I even love day checking. I love going into day check. What I call is I like to go work stupid. And then that just meaning that just tell me what you want and I just do it.
Yeah, you just turn up at somebody else's circus and you're just
exactly, and I'm
for the ride.
Exactly, and it's like oh, you want that really ugly purple on somebody's eyes that's going to look like a bruise? I'm like, okay, if that's what you want, that's what I'm going to give you, and that's that. So basically, for me, it's like when I work in a different position, I work my position. I work my position. I work as a department head. I'm going to oversee everything. I'm going to do everything. As a key, my job is there to support my department head, and I do what I would expect my key to be doing, which is to filters out all the little petty stuff that is going to be coming from your background artist, going to be coming from the PA, is going to be coming from So
Yeah.
that's your job to filter it. I shouldn't have to deal with that unless it's something that I have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as a third, if I'm gonna be in charge of background or whatever it is, then
Yeah.
I'm gonna go filter through my key.
Mm-hmm.
Even though if the department head is a good friend of mine, I'm still not gonna go to them. I'm gonna work up the ladder because there's a ladder. There's a ladder of hierarchy, quote unquote, within the trailer. You know, and I guess I think it's because that I'm department head. I know exactly how much I'm able to do.
Yeah.
You know, basically it's just knowing, I hate the term knowing your place, but, you know, it's basically just doing your job, what your job is called for.
Yeah. I don't know if it's when you say you don't like knowing your place, but I think it's just knowing your role and your position.
Thank you. There you go.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. And it's like, you know, for me, it's like, hey, if I'm like right now, I'm just day checking, which I'm happy about. And if the third tell me this person is in charge of the background, they might be a background artist, day player, just like you. I'm going to check everything with them. Yeah. You know, a lot of times it's like I would walk in there and there'd be somebody who's kind of a lot newer than I am. And I have to check in with them. And they're like, why are you asking me questions? Like, no, because I'm told to do that. You know, you're my go-to point person. You're my point person. Yeah. You know. And
the thing is that they, in the grand scheme of things, may have less experience than you, whatever. But you don't know how many, days or weeks they've been on this project and what conversations they've had with the key or the designer, or so, you know, they are the ones who have the information, and that's why you go to them. You don't just assume you know what you're doing.
And every show is run differently. You know, you come to my show, is I like to get things done this way. You go to Debbie Zola's show, you get done that way. You go to Billy Corso's show, you get done that way. You know, everybody's going to run the shows differently. Yeah. So, you know, you kind of have to kind of adjust yourself to whatever environment that you're in.
Yeah. And keeping that flexibility, I think, is it's a good, good thing to have.
Yeah. You know, my body might not be flexible anymore, but damn it.
That's awesome. And I mean, being able to go from doing these different jobs as well and like day playing at the moment, as you're saying, what are some things that you've maybe learnt recently? What's something new that you've learnt?
I think I've learned to have patience.
Oh yeah, is that a new thing that you've learned recently?
No. I think what I'm learning is like I'm learning that I like to be around people. I'm learning that I that's a hard one. Because, you know,
it's just we're in that industry where we're creative, so we're constantly learning all the time, like new techniques, new this, new that, new things about ourselves.
I love right now one thing I saw somebody did, I don't remember who, was, you know, they have the atomizer for the topic hair.
Oh yeah,
the one the long,
like the little puffer,
with the long metal tube.
Yeah, and the little glass jar.
In the glass jar, and I was like, I'm like, how am I gonna do the blower? Because I can't blow anymore with my lip.
Oh, and the tear blower? The
tear blower, yeah. And I was like, how do I do that now? And then next thing I saw somebody did that. They pulled that out. I'm like, what is that? And they put the crystal in the glass jar. They filled it up with the cotton batting, right? Yeah. And they took a little piece of stocking and put it over the spout. And they tie it in there, and basically they use that and they squeeze the air from that and shoot it out. I was like, oh, that's really smart.
Yeah. Quite frankly, I don't understand why that was not how it was done the whole time. Because always having to go up to an actor so close to their face too and like blow
no, I'm always
through
like
the
this.
tear blower.
I'm always like this. I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's like I just had coffee, so hold your breath.
At least it's menthol that's going through it, but still it's always is a little awkward.
It is always.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it is very cool, and it's like I'm like, oh, I like that. Yeah, you know, and I think somebody just came out with that now as a new,
like an actual
product now. I was like, oh,
I think I might have seen that.
Yeah, I just saw it on Facebook. You know, one of the makeup artists. I'm like, hey, take advantage of the situation. Do it. You know.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm learning so far. I love learning. I love watching. I love going to look at people's kit to see what they have, what's new, what's, you know. So I love
so much out there.
I know. You know,
How
because
do you keep up, man? Oh my God.
we're so used to, you know, we're so used to using a certain type of product, and that's it, you know.
Yeah.
And you always go buy the same thing, and then you look at the new stuff that the other artists are bringing, and I'm like, what is that? How does that work? You know,
Yeah.
I like that. So
That's cool.
yeah.
And having worked with so many different makeup artists in the industry, and just, I guess, just even watching TV and film and just seeing what makeup's being done out there, do you think there are any specific skills makeup artists may be lacking in our line of work that you wish that they would work on more?
I feel like one of the skill that is, I don't know, is lacking or we need to go back to is blending.
Right.
Because I think that the trend so far has been hard lines.
Right.
And I think we need to go back into blending.
Blend.
And it's like yes, contour. I love contouring. I work with Janet Jackson, the queen of contour. Come on. You know, but I have to, you know, I have to blend it to make it look natural. And the whole thing for me is just watching that. And one of the best tips that I got was from, oh my gosh, just shoot me now. It was Peter Lindbergh. He's a photographer. We were shooting Pepsi. Where were we? In Australia. And I was doing Janet, and I'm so used to doing her for stage. So I went a little bit heavier. And he came up to me one day, and at the end of the day, he didn't approach me on the day of the shoot, which I was very, 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 very gracious for. So Peter came up to me and said, "Hey Tim, do me a favor. Eye makeup, things like that. I don't care how much you put on. I want to see skin. I want to see. You can put the foundation on, but I still want to see skin coming through." Because then he explained to me, because the way the camera reads skin is totally different than the way the camera reads makeup. Yeah.
Right.
So basically, if you go from the face to the neck, if there's no makeup to continue all the way down, you can see the difference. And he likes shooting with natural lights. So I've always taken that to heart. And I still do it to this day, you know, where I cover what I need to cover, and I just cover what I need to cover, and I'm not going to do all the other extras that goes along with it, you know, because I want people to be able to see the skin, and I think people need to learn how to, I guess, how to walk away,
Right.
you know.
But also, like, is it how to get it to a point as well that it's, you do have the coverage where you need it, and to know where to not go so heavy, and to be able to have those two work together and blend.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I literally was like going, okay. It made sense. And then the next day when I did it, and I took away some of the foundations, and I looked at the pictures, and Peter actually showed me the image from the camera, and he's like, "You see the difference between the two?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yes." So that was just a major eye-opening thing for me.
That's awesome. So hopefully someone listening today will take that away.
Yeah, take it. Free advice.
Take it and run.
Take it and run with it. You know. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I'm not. A lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, the way they do the kids do makeup nowadays." It's like, no, it's a trend. Yeah. I'm never gonna fault anybody for doing what the trend is. It's like, you know, it's the trend. Yeah. That's all it is.
It'll come and it'll go.
Yeah, it'll come and go.
And it'll probably turn up again in another 20 years.
Exactly, but just make sure you understand that when it goes, let it go. You know,
time to move on.
Time to move on. Because the whole thing is like, if you learn to do the makeup in the classic way, everything else is just, you're basically putting up drapes and paint colors. You know, if you could do a beautiful natural looking thing, everything else is just a ketchup and mustard, you know.
I like it how you go from drapes and paint to ketchup and mustard.
And relish.
And relish. Don't forget the relish, guys.
Don't forget the hot sauce too. Just add a little spiciness to it. Come on.
Of course.
Come on. All these companies are coming out with the freaking all like Cheetos and all those guys are coming out with the makeup brand, with the makeup thing. So, you know.
What?
You don't know? Cheetos came out with their own makeup, kind of like a makeup thing. They had like a eyeshadow palettes and lip colors and nail colors.
And Cheetos, for those that don't know, is it like a type of chip? Like it's the orange, right?
Yeah, it's like pretty much dried cheese.
Yeah. Completely processed nastiness that people love. And they've got their own makeup?
They have a
Is
makeup.
It orange?
It is orange. It's orange and it's hilarious to me. I'm looking at it. It's like somebody else just came out with something that I was just like nail polish.
Oh, Lord.
Wait, who was it? Somebody came out with nail polish that smells like the flavor of the food.
Oh, my God.
And it was something
that's
pretty
weird.
disgusting.
So your fingers would just be smelling like that all the time?
Yeah, I want to say...
Yeah, I recommend that makeup artists do not use that nail polish.
I want to say the nail polish... I want to say it's like nachos or something like that, where you smell like cheese.
Cheesy fingers?
I was like, where's your fingers been, honey?
I swear I've washed them 100 times. It's the nail polish.
It's like, let's add some more hand sanitizer.
Yeah,
No, I'm just, oh my gosh, it's hilarious. And I want to say, oh my gosh, I think there's been like three or four things that came out with the food thing. So anyway,
that's weird.
Yeah.
So when you're prepping for a job or just in general, looking around for inspiration and research, where are you normally looking?
Well, it all depends on what I'm doing. It's like if I'm doing a period piece, and obviously I might go and through my archives and go through the books of the period. I would basically figure out if I'm doing 1960s, let's say if I'm using Dinah Shore or Diane Carroll as an inspiration, then I would pull out her images as much as I can. That would work from the internet. But also, believe it or not, I would actually go to the Instagram, and I would actually look at some of the newer generation's makeup to see what the current interpretation of the 1960s is.
Right. How do you search for that on Instagram? Is that through people that you follow, or is that hashtags that you
The hashtag, I think,
searching?
1960s makeup, and then I just sit there for days and just scroll through it and see what I like. And then what I like to do is that when I work on a period project, the way that my mind works is that I want to make sure that I pay respect to the era and I pay respect to the look of the show. But at the same time, I want to update the look just a tiny bit to a point that you don't know that it's been done that way. Because, I'm going to go back to Dreamgirls, because my goal for Dreamgirls was that to have the people who was born and who was around during the 1960s to go, oh my gosh, I remember doing that. I remember that's how I did my makeup back then. But then I want the newer generation, the kids that was growing up now, to go, oh my gosh, I want to emulate that makeup. I want to do the makeup like that. Yeah. So you got to find a sweet spot for it to be, and that would be the inspiration. I would take the old and the new, and somewhere in the middle is where the project would be. And also you read the script and you go from there. It's like, hey, if Susie Q lives in the trailer park, is she going to be able to take care of herself? Is she going to go to the salon 3 times a week, 3 times a month to get her nails done, her hair done, or whatever, so you have to look at the character. It's like, would she have the money to do that? Would she, so I would get the inspiration for the look, and then I would break down the character on it, and then I would obviously talk to the actors about what their vision is, and then I would talk to the director about it, and then that's when the looks comes in, and that's when the looks works.
Do you enjoy that part of the job?
I love that process. I think that's probably one of the funnest process, but one of the most trying part too. One of the trying part, because everybody has such a different ideas of what they want that character to be. And
so you have to be like the middleman.
You have to be the middleman. You have to go, okay, well, we could do this, but this doesn't work because of this and this and this. And that's something that we as you too, talking about hair colors of the actors or whatever. The style is like, okay, her face a little too round for this look because she can look like she's going to be a bobbler. And that's something that we have to keep in consideration. But that's the fun part about it, is to trying to do it and come up with the looks. The whole thing, it takes a team, takes a full village to get the project going. But at the same time, I know there's a lot of upcomers going, well, I work on a job too. I should get the accolades too. I'm like, you do on your position, but at the same time, you're not designing everything. So it's kind of where, everybody wants they want to get all the accolades, but nobody wants to take the blame.
Yeah.
I know that's a whole another subject.
It's a different podcast.
That's a whole nother thing. So
what do you find most rewarding in our line of work?
I love seeing the final product on the screen.
Yeah.
I love seeing the final product. I mean, it's like, I just love seeing what comes out. And for me, when I watch a project that I worked on, I actually have to watch it like 4 times before I enjoy it. Because the first time, the first time I find all of my mistakes.
Yeah.
And then the second time I find everybody else's mistake.
Yeah.
The third time I see everything.
Yeah.
And then the fourth time I go, okay, now that I saw everything, I know in my head I'm good. So I'm just gonna enjoy the movie now. So and that's the thing. But I mean, like the whole thing. I think the most rewarding thing is to see the project come together. And that, I think that's the only thing.
That's all the work.
That's all the work.
All the blood, sweat, and tears is towards that.
Yeah, because as soon as we're done with that job, we're on to the next one.
Yeah.
We constantly on the move, and it's like you can't really sit there and live in that for a while.
Yeah. And what do you find most challenging, Tim? What's the hardest thing?
Dealing with the producers.
Yeah.
Dealing with the producers, dealing with the finances, dealing with not getting what
the
you
budget,
need.
my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing to tell the producers is like, they go, well, you don't need that. It's like, no, I don't. You're absolutely right. I don't need that. But guess who needs it? You do.
Yeah.
And it's not, I think Carla Farmer, we worked on a show and we were trying to get artists to go to Utah. And one of the producers came up to me and go, well, why do you need all that people? Why do you need all those artists? It's like, we went back and forth for a while. And I was like, you know what? I said, you're absolutely right. I don't need those artists. Everybody that is in the trailer, that gets done in the trailer is going to be done. Now, I don't know who you're going to get to do all these people out here. So, so pretty much, you're absolutely right. I don't need it. You're going to need those people to get the job done. And for every 1 hour, one person you cut, you're probably going to wind up having to do a half-hour recall to accommodate for what's needed, for what is going to be done. If we don't get those people here, you're either going to pay it here or you're going to pay it on set, because on set, the set's going to be waiting for the work that's needs to be done here. And I remember telling the producer, I got no sense at all. Come on. I basically told the producers, actually, you know what? Artists I don't need. You know what I need is I need new patio furnitures. Can you help me hook that up?
Oh my God, Tim, this is hilarious. Because Carla told me this story and I didn't know who the makeup artist was, and now I do.
That was me.
And that was you. And that's amazing because you know what? I fully heard her when she said that and listened. And from that moment, anytime I am communicating with production about those types of things, and it's in an email or verbal or anything, I never now say I need. I always say the production needs X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, because it's
it's not me. It's not what I need. For you to get this, what you need happened and finished and on time, this is what you are going to need.
Exactly.
You are going to need this many stylists, this many makeup
because
artists,
I think we all need the wording.
Yeah.
Words are so powerful. Words are so... A lot of times you need to talk to producers in their own language, which to me is finances.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we need this. I'm like, no, we don't need it. You need this.
Yeah.
So yes, I was the one who
you kicked that off. It resonated with me strongly because I'm always... It's the biggest energy drainer on top of just doing crazy hours is having the constant back and forth of man days and budget and all that type of stuff. And it's just like, it's exhausting. So just for me to feel better about it, that it's not me needing or wanting these things. It's just, I am there to tell them what they need to get the job done.
Yeah. Because like I said, we don't need none of that stuff.
What was your line? You said what I need is patio.
I need patio furniture. Can you help me with that?
Yeah.
And I think after I said that, I think he stepped back a little bit, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude, but that's what I need. It's not, obviously that we got what we needed to get the job done.
And I like how you say we got what we needed. Because that's what it is. It's turning that I need this into we need this, or production needs this.
Yeah, because
it's a whole...
Everything is a collaborative issue. I come to you with an idea to make sure that things are run smoothly. And if you're not willing to listen to that, then there's nothing I could do about it.
Yeah.
You know? It's always going to be a collaborative issue. It's like I work with a producer where basically he was like, every time I ask for something, he's like, why? And I'm like, okay, you know, he's like, you could spend more money on the overtime and whatever else needs to be done, but I'm not going to worry about it. You know, I got to the point where I trained him so much where he was like, you know, when I go, hey, I need this people. I need, you know, we need to hire this many people. He was like, and he caught himself trying to, you know, doing the producer grumble thing, you know. And he goes, I know Tim. Tim don't ask for anything that he doesn't need.
Yeah, then that's the other thing. It's just like, I'm not asking for 10 hairstylists because I want 10 of my friends to turn up that day. It's just you have this many background and you want them finished by this time, and the director wants them to look like this. That's what it's going to take.
I mean, you know, the other thing that I love telling you, I didn't write the script.
Yeah.
I didn't write it.
Yeah.
Y'all wrote it.
I know. Everyone's just coming up against a brick wall, though, aren't they? The money guys are just like, there's no money. And
but it's always, I mean, I think
everyone's got a problem.
The problem is me, you know, being in the business for so long where the production was used to be run by artists, people who work up in the rank in the film industry who understand filmmaking. Now, a lot of the kids that are just coming in are being run by lawyers and number crunchers, accountant, and whatever else, you know, and
makes a difference.
It makes a difference because the people that is making the budget, it doesn't understand how are not on set, don't see how the set is working. You know,
well, it's almost like they haven't read the script sometimes.
Hello,
like, did anybody read this before they worked this out?
It's like, yeah, it's right here. It says it right here. You know, head blown off right here.
That costs money.
That costs a lot of money. You know, it's like, okay, she is now, you know, a 35-year-old woman now, 65, and she's swimming in the lake, and she comes out of the lake, and she now 65, and the director wants her to have crepey skin and da 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 da. I was like, well, I could give you all that, but I don't think you need it. You know. And you know, it's one of the things, like, I'm going to try to save you the money. I'm going to try to save the production money. But at the same time,
when you need to spend it, it needs to be spent.
It needs to be spent.
Yeah, I know, it's a tricky one.
Yeah.
And what kind of project have you not worked on that you would like to?
I would like to do a sci-fi.
Oh yeah.
I like to do a sci-fi. You know, I've worked on the sci-fi, but I want to head a sci-fi show, you know. So
a TV show or a film?
A film.
A film?
Yeah.
Awesome.
A film where I feel you could be a little more creative. I mean, well, you know, right now it's like if you're doing the Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever, you get to be the creative side on it. But, you know.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, because I'm not known for effects situation, then I usually don't get called for those. But, you know, right now I'm working on it. Because I know effects wasn't my strong point, I actually took a month out of my schedule and went back to Mud to go learn special effects. And, you know, and I had a fabulous time with it. And luckily, the next show I got, I did a movie in London called 355. Lupita was like, I think I need a scar right here.
Yeah.
This was done she called me on Thursday, and the scar works on Monday. We were in London, have no idea who the hell anybody was or where to go, but with just having taken the class, I'm like, okay, I was able to figure it out, you know.
You're like, I got this.
And then the next thing I did was Nope, where, you know, I was able to work with Vincent Van Dyke in getting the working with the design on the characters, and, you know, and I brought Mike McCash in to apply the makeup. But then I was like, oh, I don't have anybody that day, so I went in and kind of played with him on that one, you know. So it was fun. It was fun moving into that world.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like it. And I mean, that's just learning a whole bunch of new stuff as well, isn't it?
Well, it is.
So
it is. We're constantly learning
awesome.
Because, I mean, technology changes all the time. You know, the product changes all the time.
Techniques.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's like a lot of people is like, well, I mean, like Mike McCash, when I was working with him on that makeup, he's like, why do you constantly saying that you don't do special effects? You can do special effects. I was like, well, because I can, but at the same time, mine would be double amount of times that you would do it.
Right. And you don't specialize in it as such.
No. It's like, I mean, it might take you 2 hours. It's going to take me 3.5 hours to get it done. And like when we work on Black Panther, the first one, I was walking around. I was the ladies' makeup artist. And all of a sudden, it's like, I remember walking by the thing. I was looking at all the Dora's tattoos and things like that. And, Kenny was like, I remember Kenny, and it was such a huge compliment. Kenny Diaz, she's like, hey, if you want to play, you could have Kentaro putting the tattoos on. And, after looking at it, watching what Kentaro was doing, and I match it on the other side. And Kenny was like, oh, you do know how to do tattoos. I'm like, yeah, I can. It's just a matter of, that's not what I'm known for. That's not what I'm.
Yeah.
And it's like,
but you're an artist and you pick it up.
Yeah, I'm a makeup artist. I'm trained. So I'm able to do it. And I think that's the thing. I think it's like a lot of us are makeup artists or hairdressers to come into a union. It's like, and don't know the whole facet of it, learning from facial hair to scars to out-of-kit special effects, all the stuff. And you walk in with just a beauty thing, and then you're going, well, how come you're not hiring me to do the other jobs? Because you don't have the skill set to do it.
Right.
So I'm not going to hire you. It's like, or just like a hairdresser coming in who could do beach waves, because that's what is the trend nowadays. And then if you need somebody to do fractured wrap and set a wig for a period piece, and they can't do that, and I think that's the thing. It's like, I think a lot of us have to go back. I would say a lot of us, because I'm included in that, because we need to work on our skill set. We need to work on our education. We need to work on our hands.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I would like you to visualize yourself in your trailer right now, Tim.
Oh, God.
It's not tricky. It's okay. Visualize you in your trailer. You're all set up, ready to go, do your makeup for the day. And if I walked in and I took one tool or product away from you, what would freak you out? What would you not want to be without?
That's a hard one. No, because I'm one of those. The one product I would not want to be without is my color correctors.
Yeah.
My color correctors, because I think it's like, it doesn't matter what you do. When you do makeup, it's never going to guarantee that it's going to look right. So if I don't have the correctors for it to adjust the colors, and I think that's going to be a hard one to bring it back to what I need.
Yeah.
I think that would be it. Just like the color correctors,
answer.
because I was trying to think like everything else, I could MacGyver it, If you take my eyelash curler, I'm like, I could take a spoon and heat it up and just comb it up.
Yeah.
So I think probably the color corrector would be the harder one. But at the same time, if I have eyeshadows of those colors, I could scrape it off and mix it in and adjust it to what I needed to anyway. So,
I like it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And what one person would you like to hear on the podcast?
Oh gosh, you have a lot of great people.
It's true.
I know. I was like, damn. I would you know what? I would love for you to get V. Neil and Yolanda to sing together. Two for hello. And because those two legends have done so many shows together.
Yeah.
I would just love to hear about their the collaboration that they had together.
Just working together.
From designing, Edward Scissorhand to Pirates of the Caribbean to, so many iconic projects together.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
How they work together, how, who takes the lead on what,
Yeah.
So I think that would be,
I love it.
That would be a fun one.
It would be.
Get to it.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I will try. The only problem is that there's other people involved and they have to be into it too. So we'll see how we go. But Tim, it's been so awesome talking to you today. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Of course. For links to see more about our guests, go to our Instagram at The Last Looks Podcast or our website, thelastlookspodcast.com. If you want to keep up with new episodes being released, be sure to subscribe through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, YouTube, or any podcast streaming platform. And remember, if you're enjoying the show, share it. The Last Looks Podcast would like to thank Brett Stanley and Sabrina Castro. The song Fun Time by DJ Quads. Thanks for listening. Until next time.
That's a wrap, people.